Hey guys, welcome to the video. My name is Jeff. Just so you know, I want to show you guys my credentials. Not trying to be a show off or a snob or anything like that. Just want you to know that you're not taking advice from some backyard mechanic. Okay? All right, now getting right into it. The details. Okay, these transmissions, this is a ZF6HP and 6HP26, sorry, and these transmissions have common issues with leakage that cause shifting concerns. These solenoids that these transmissions have are not just on-off. Most of them are actually regulators controlled by pulse width modulation from your slave module on your mechatronics unit. Mechatronics is mechanical, right? So it's all this, your mechanical, and then tronics, your electronics, okay? Don't touch those pins. Static electricity can burn that module, and then that module is married, so to speak, to this valve body, okay? So if you ruin that, or you ruin this, you need a new one, the whole thing. And you're talking about almost $2,000 by the time you're done with programming and all that. So be careful with that. And taking it off too, be very careful. There's 6 screws that hold it on and 2 pins. Those pins also help with alignment. So when you're putting the valve body back together, it's important that before you tighten any screws, that the valve body's computer unit is back on there so that the alignment pins can do their job. There's 1, and there's a speed sensor, and there's 2. There's another speed sensor, so be very careful with this thing. And then your 6 screws. Here's 2 right here. All right, and then on another plane over here, so we have 2 like this, then over here we have 2 like this, and then you have 2 more like this. So you got 2, 2, and 2. All right, now you have to also remember that there's 3 back here that hold the mechatronics unit to the transmission case. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind as well when you're going to unbolt the mechatronics from the case. Okay, now since we're down here already, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys. This is where the sleeves go in. All right, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see the difference in depth. And if I show you from this angle, you'll understand why. Look at the curvature there. Okay, so you have 2 that are short, 1 that's slightly longer, and then the one that's the longest. Okay, I'll show you guys that now. But before I go there, this is where the bridge seal would sit. Okay, and the valve body goes on like that. Okay, so the leakage occurs between the valve body and those seals as they age, and then also between the valve body and pump and the bridge seal, as they call it right here. There's a lot of leakage that occurs there, and then you have shifting concerns and slippage. Okay, so you got that going on, and then you also have those solenoids becoming either electronically worn or hydraulically worn. So you can ohm those and they can test fine, but also, are you heating them up like they are in operation? Probably not, right? So I'll give you a little bit of experience. We had a dryer actually that was cutting off in operation, and this is how I taught my son about this type of theory. Was the dryer would run for a little bit and then shut down. We took it apart and we ohmed out the solenoid. It was fine. So, and I had a hunch it was a solenoid based on the way it was operating. So we took a heat gun, started warming it up, and then we watched the resistance slowly start climbing, and then all of a sudden it went open. Okay, that's the kind of thing that happens with these solenoids electronically. But I think more of the failures with these are hydraulic. Okay, I'll go ahead and show you guys the new solenoids too, as well as the new sleeves and bridge seal. Okay, and then we'll move on from there. So here are the sleeves, laid out just like they should go into the case, okay? Just like how the case is right down there, okay? You see the front of the transmission, and then that's the rear of the transmission, okay? And then here's your bridge seal. This is the one that goes between the valve body and the pump unit itself, okay? This one is for the pan. The filter is built into the pan. So that is what goes on the neck that goes up into the pump so that you can actually draw the fluid out. This was recently replaced, so I'm gonna go ahead and reuse it. I'm just gonna clean it up. But there you go, you can see that it's built in. I just have it draining out Be really careful with the drain plug as well. It's plastic. It only takes 8 Newton meters, and it's got a weird locking type of action to it. So be really careful with tightening that. Okay, so stuff I ordered to do this. The bridge seal, the sleeves. This is the sleeve that adapts the Mechatronics unit itself to the transmission case. So there's the electronics portion of it. This would go in, and then you have this tab you have to pull down in order to release this. So if you're working on the outside of the transmission, it's still in your car, and this is leaking oil into your electrical connector because these seals are worn, which is actually really common, or leaking outside the transmission, go ahead and just pull that tab down. When you pull the pan down, you can see it. You can pull this tab down, and then you'll be able to pull this out. When you're going back in, though, I've heard some people say that on the way back in, you have to actually apply a little bit of pressure while pushing this up in order for it to actually slide up. Okay, and remember, you want to be very careful with this. So take all precautions, okay? Take a deep breath and don't be stressed out while you're under there doing this, okay? So this is, I'll show you guys where it goes in. Right there. That's where the sleeve goes in. Again, while we're down here, might as well show you something else. There's from the inside. So this is where that sleeve would come in and made up with your Mechatronics unit right there. Also, the numbers that you need, they're on the side of the transmission. Sorry about the dim lighting down here, but it's that 1068 number right there. That's what you need to identify your transmission. And you call my buddies over at the CTSC. All right, the California Transmission Supply. A guy named Klaus. Very good, very helpful. And these are the things that I ordered with the part numbers. These may not be the right ones for you, but you get this stuff. You can't go wrong. Get it, make sure it's matched for your transmission. And also get a new solenoid kit. So what I got here, you'll see that they're blue and yellow, and there's one black one, not green, and some kind of tan or orange or something in between there. The hotter these transmissions get, the more these change color. All right, the yellow ones. So you can tell just by looking at that how hot that area of the transmission has been. It comes with pretty good instructions with torque specifications and such. And I believe that's German as well. All right. Also, Klaus over at CTSC gave me a good piece of advice. He said, you need this foam strip, okay? This foam strip slides on to the tabs underneath here, okay? I'll show you guys. It slides on right there to prevent any metal slivers from the transmission from being able to lay on those contacts and cause a short. Apparently it's happened, otherwise they wouldn't have made this, right? So how much was that? I think it was really cheap. Let's see. I don't think it's on this one. No, it's not, but it's a little piece of foam. Can't cost much, right? So definitely consider getting that. Also, in watching Gary Ferraro's videos, Gary Ferraro is a genius with these things, okay? His videos are amazing, and he's very helpful. Watch some of his videos. They will give you some more detail as well. But that's where I learned just about everything that I learned on this transmission unit was from Gary Ferraro, from the CTSC, and from Sonnax, all right? So I'm not sponsored. I'm not asking these guys for anything. I'm just trying to pass on my good sources of information to you guys so you don't have to go through the same struggle and search that I did. All right, so the Sonnax Zip Kit addresses common leakage issues, all right? That's what it says it does, okay? And I'm not some rich guy. I work for a living, so I'm not sponsored or anything. It took a little bit to stack up the cash to buy all this stuff so I can do this. But I just kind of, like I said, want to show it to you guys so you can have an idea if it'll be right for you. This part is cool. Instead of the dampers that they have now, which is a metal piston with a rubber insert, I'll show them to you. Here they go. You can see that those first three are pretty flattened down, right? And that's what starts to happen to them, and then they lose their dampening characteristics. This is a really good example of it because there's three that are flat. There's one that's a little better than the last one, and then better than all of them, all right? So you can see how that would lose its dampening characteristic. And obviously this, a lot of stop and go, first, second, third gear, fourth gear, fifth and sixth probably not use that much. I don't know if that's exactly the order, but it seems right, So, I mean, that's something to definitely be replaced, right? And they've come up with a fix for it. They put these springs in instead with the metal pistons. All right, so that's just one thing that they come with. The other things that they come with are a lot of like things like this, like a sleeve. This is I believe a pressure regulator is what I was told. So there's a bunch of end plugs with O-rings, and they talk about installing this with the screw hole facing out. I guess that is something that enables you to be able to remove them later on if you need to. You see a bunch of end plugs and O-rings, a bunch of cool stuff. I saw one review on this saying, oh, it's just a bunch of end plugs and a bunch of O-rings, and what's that really going to do to help me? And, here's the thing. If your problems are shift quality and harsh downshifts and things like that relate to control issues, not hard parts in the transmission or seals that are in the actual running gear of the transmission being bad. If you got a control system issue, what is a transmission? What is an automatic transmission? What controls it? What's the lifeblood of the transmission? It's the fluid. So if this is the brain of the transmission and it's hemorrhaging everywhere, is it going to work properly? Probably not, right? So what I'm doing here is addressing, first of all, any kind of debris that's floating around in this valve body. That's why I have it so disassembled. Second of all, the solenoids, which control the flow through the transmission. And then third, if there's small amounts of valve body wear throughout this thing, these end plugs will help stop that up. So we'd have a better control. The computer would actually have a better control over what's going on with the shift quality, okay? And that's why it's got these two modules, because the one in the car is sort of commanding, hey, I need a shift. And then this one is tracking the speeds via these speed sensors. And it's saying, okay, well, I have just commanded you to shift from first to second. And it watches the input speed versus the output speed. And it knows not only has that shift completed, but how long did it take to get that change in ratio. And so it will make adjustments via these solenoids and control of the pressure through the valve body to accommodate that. All right. I don't want to turn it into a generic valve body lesson, because some of you that are watching are probably like, man, I already know all this. But some people don't. So I just figured I'd give a rundown of as much as I could while I'm here, okay? So I showed you guys the new parts, the Sonnax stuff that I got. I want to show you guys in taking this thing apart, a couple things that I have discovered. One is the silicone on this intermediate sheet or spacer plate does in fact deteriorate. When I was taking the solenoids, I was taking a close look at the screens, and I noticed that there was some of that debris on the screens, and I didn't know where it was coming from at first. It seems obvious now, right? But when you're into it and taking this thing apart, you're in an investigation mode, right? I haven't cleaned it yet. I'm gonna go ahead and clean everything down. It's just a bare valve body block at this time because everything's out, as you can see. But I want to go ahead and show you guys something. There's two spots where check valves stick through this thing, okay? Not check balls, but check valves. These two here with springs. So when you go and you take the first half of the valve body off and you fold it over like this, okay? Very important, fold it over like this. Look which side I folded over. Is this side with the solenoids, okay? Because the check balls and all will remain in this side. If you fold it the other way, you're gonna drop everything everywhere, okay? You're gonna drop it all over the place. So don't do that. Take my advice. I got it from an expert, Gary Ferraro, okay? Flip it over like this, okay? Then when you're wiping the transmission fluid off of here, he did it with his finger. I noticed that. And he was looking for, I guess, wear spots on this thing to be able to have a diagnosis in mind. It's not just, I'm just gonna tear this thing apart and replace all this stuff. It's, okay, where did the failures come from? How did this happen, right? So you can understand it, so that you know beyond a shadow of a doubt, you have replaced some items that would actually help you complete a repair, okay? So be careful for these two check valves sticking through. All right, and it's going to be one up in this area here, and then one down in this area here. Okay, so as you're wiping it, you don't want to hit it hard and break the tip off it or something like that. Okay, so and then this might be stuck down. So when you go to pry it, you know, you could do it like right here, you know, with a big enough pry bar right here. You just need a little edge, and once you get it started, boom, it'll come right out. Be ready to catch some transmission fluid, first of all. And then second of all, I'm gonna show you guys the locations where the check valves were. All right, so I believe one was right there, and I believe the other was right there. Okay, just so you have an idea of where it goes. Okay, and then the screens, one goes right here, and the other, you can see there's a small recession there for it. Okay, same thing for the larger one. The other goes right there. Okay, check valves. Again, this is a ZF6HP26. Okay, so this may not be the same for all of them, but there's 9 check valves, or check balls, I'm sorry. And so I'm gonna show you their locations now. Okay, so there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. I'm gonna zoom out just for perspective. Okay, 1, 2, and 3 in that area. Down in this area we have 4. Okay, so I'm gonna do my best here to show you guys where all 4 are. So this would be number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7. Okay, so you haven't noticed, I put a little white mark next to each one, just to the right of each one. Okay, so we had 3 up there, right? 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7. It's like playing Where's Waldo, right? If some of you remember that. Maybe I'm old, so you don't. So then there's number 8. And then if you go up past your check valve here, there's number 9. Okay? So again, for perspective, number 8 and number 9. So if you goofed and you you flipped it over the wrong way, you got to find on your floor, look around. Don't let anyone walk around. Don't sweep. Don't do anything. Look until you find those things, and you'll be able to put it back where it goes. Okay, so that's a little bit of detail there for you. I went over the dampers already. Pulling all these little valves out. Okay, this half of the valve body is pretty simple. There's a couple that go in like this, and a few that go in like this. All right. And so you may have to use your vice grips, and I know some people are calling me a savage right now, but it's okay. I'll hook on right here. I'm not damaging anything, and I'll be able to wiggle, like twist a little and pull it out, because sometimes it doesn't come out very easily. But then the valve, you just tip the valve body up a little and jiggle it a little, and the valve will start to work its way out. Worst case scenario, if you have to, you can use a pick and very gently just coerce it through these channels to work it to where it's coming out towards you. You most likely won't have to do that. Don't scratch those valves, whatever you do, okay? And don't damage the bores either. Don't go sticking wire brushes and stuff in there to clean it up. You definitely don't want to do that, okay? I'll go ahead and put my stuff back where it goes. I like to be very organized with what I'm doing here. So, all right, so that's those. Some of them are spring-loaded, some are not, so don't get surprised. Those clips do like to go flying. So as you remove those clips, I'll show you an example of where they go in. Right there. That's one. And right there's the other. So what I did was I pushed from this side, and I put my finger here to catch it so it wouldn't go flying. Okay? And then I was able to pull out all those valves. So those, like I said, are pretty straightforward. These are a little bit different. You have this style of clip right here. You can see one side's short, one side's long. Okay, it's pretty easy to tell how it goes in. Obviously the short side goes right there. You can see the little recess for it right there. Okay, so you would push that valve in against its spring and then load this clip in here like so and push it down, and then the spacer plate will keep it in there for you. Okay, so and it fits pretty good. Now these This type, on the other hand, is a little bit of a different story, okay? Because it actually sits in here like this, okay? And those have to go in. Let's see, there's two, then there's a skip, okay? And you're probably wondering, why is there a skip? And then there's that one, okay? So there's two, and there's a skip. This is why there's a skip, because this one is just a solenoid, and it dead ends in there, okay? So on this one here, let's follow it up. You'll notice that these two are right next to each other. You see a little edge right there. You could tell that's where those clips go in. So what I did was I measured the depth. How far in was this face in relation to the valve body surface out here? Okay, and I did that with these calipers. Okay, you can get them from Harbor Freight. This is a Blue Point one, but I just measured them like this using the depth. Okay, and I was able to tell how far in that was, and so I wrote that down. Now, like I said, those two are at about the same depth, right? So that's okay. I could set those back in there. But then this one was a little further out, as you could tell. Two at the same, one a little further out. So because that one was a little further out, the way I placed it was a little further out. And this one was a little further in, so I took a different measurement. You see? So I got all my measurements down, right? And then I get down to my last one over here, and that one is a clip style, okay? So you can see how many I have. 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then a skip, and then another 2 that are the clip style over there, okay? So be really organized, okay? And you can see, look at this stuff that I was talking about. See it? Just even little stuff like that being inside your valve body when you go back together is possible to cause a failure. Can stick one of these valves in place and you'll get improper shifting and codes and limp mode and all that good stuff. So that's why I decided to take it all apart and let's go through it, clean it real good, reassemble it with the new plate, with the new solenoids, everything nice and clean, the new dampers, the Sonnax Zip kit, the foam strip with the solenoids, the whole 9. Go back together with it good to go. No possibility of leakage or anything, and you should be good. All right, again, my sources of information, Gary Ferraro. If you pay attention in the background, you'll see he uses this stuff, so I went ahead and got some too. I'm a big fan of that guy. He's very detailed, very organized, and as busy as he is, because people that are good and professional are really busy usually. He still took the time to answer my questions, which was, I say thank you, Gary, because that's amazing. You don't find very many people willing to help like that these days, unless you look on YouTube and you got someone posting a good informative video. I hope this answered some of your questions about these units. My car is a 2006. I actually got a used transmission and put it in there, and lo and behold, it did not work. The car was actually stuck in park. It would not shift out of park. Okay, and this is a E60, 2006 E60. I thought it was an 07, but no, it's an 06. I was doing some reading online, and they said that the Mechatronics unit and that range of year should be able to communicate with the TCM on the car. Not the case. I get a code for what they call CAS, Car Access System, and it won't let you take it out of park because the numbers in here don't match the numbers in the brain box in there. So guess what? It says you can't drive this car. This car is stolen with my transmission, or this transmission is stolen in my car. And so it will not allow you to take it out of park, okay? That's why I say be super cautious with that little guy right there. When you're going to take this apart, watch Gary's videos. That's why there's a paint can here, not just for light. You flip the valve body over on the paint can, and that's how you're able to set this thing down with this connector pointed down, okay? Do so very carefully. I cannot stress that enough. And then another thing that he stresses in his videos, when you're going back on with it and you're bolting everything up, it contains 2 alignment pins. Those alignment pins line everything up perfectly. Do not tighten a single bolt unless you have that on and the alignment pins in place. You tighten a couple bolts slightly, you remove it, and then you continue on until you're ready to install the Mechatronics unit. That's the way it's done. Also, he talks about making sure you line up your manual valve right here with your slide, okay, on your M-shift models here. So make sure that your manual valve, this guy right here, gets to line up so that it will move that, okay? It's important. So take really good notes coming apart, and be really, really detail oriented on doing this, and don't let anyone come into your garage, all right, until this is done, okay? That way you're the only one in there, and there's no dust and stuff falling on it, or you don't need any of that. Anyway, I'm rambling now, so good luck. Hopefully it works out for you. I'll try to put my email on there if there's any questions that I didn't answer. I'm sure there'll be some positive comments. I'm sure there'll be some negative comments. I'll take it as constructive criticism. If you guys think there's something I could do to improve my videos, like not rambling so much, I'll try, but there's just a lot of information that I want to get. I want to be able to give everybody the information they need without the stupid intro music or anything like that, okay? So hopefully, like I said, this answered your questions. Good luck. Take care. Check out Gary Ferraro. Check out the CTSC. Klaus over there, good guy, definitely. Sonnax, definitely good product. And I'll try to do a follow-up video once the car is done. All right. Hopefully you guys found this interesting. You found out what you needed to find out. Good luck.